And hello, ChiroSecure viewers, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Kim Klapp, founder of Assistance for Chiropractic Excellence. And before we talk about the number one strategy with new patients choosing to stay, pay, and refer, I want to take a moment to love on ChiroSecure. And if you don't already know, they are absolutely fabulous. They have the best coverage, they have exceptional customer service, and they amaze me with all they give to the profession, including sponsoring these programs. So I'm also grateful that you've chosen to watch. Now, in addition to my coaching program, I've been managing my husband, that's Dr. Tom Klapp's practice in Ann Arbor, Michigan for almost 25 years now. Go Blue. So if you happen to have any questions on hiring or training or practice systems, just post it and I'll be happy to answer either during today's show or afterwards. And since my ACE course this month that I'm doing is on second visit strategies for amazing retention, I thought it'd be a good idea to share the most important one with you today. And what I find is that the experience that your patients get on the first two visits, as you've probably already realized, absolutely determines your retention. And if your office in the past has had difficulty with one or two visit wonders, you're going to really appreciate what I'm going to share today to prevent that from happening. So with that, let's get started. I believe that the number one strategy to help you create those corrective and wellness clients in your practice is education. And that's why your doctor's report is so critical. And I love this quote. Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change this world. It's so perfect. So let me clarify. The doctor's report actually has two components, two pieces, if you will. Number one, it has the chiropractic orientation. We need to explain to people to give them a background on their exams, on their x-rays, on the types of care. Now, it doesn't matter what you call it. You might call it a new patient orientation, a lay lecture, a healthcare class, a spine care class, whatever. But the second piece is relating that information to the individual patient. That's the report of findings. And it just, like I said, it doesn't matter what you call it. It just matters that the patient becomes educated about what chiropractic really is and about the type of care that they need prior to getting adjusted. And let me take a moment and explain why. First and foremost, it's congruent. In other words, it's alignment with your purpose and mission of your practice, probably. Remember, etymologically, doctor doesn't mean healer, it means teacher. And part of our mission is to educate the community. And you just can't do that without providing some type of education along these lines. Now, another reason it's so important is because it allows you to reorient patients in their headspace. Think about where they are in their headspace when they come to your practice. Probably from a short-term, allopathic, outside-in model of sickness. So we want to reorient them to a long-term, lifetime chiropractic, inside-out, vitalistic model of wellness. And while that's going to be a tremendous benefit for all your clients, it's also a win-win because the benefit to your office is that it magnifies collections. You increase your bottom line. Probably have your attention now. Should have started with that, but consider what your per visit average is, $60, $70, much more. Do you want to multiply that by 2 visits, by 12 visits, or by 100 visits? So the doctor's report is the key to patients choosing long-term care and thereby creating amazing retention. The doctor's report should also be mandatory for all of your new and most of your lapsed patients. In other words, those who are updates. Because in our office, honestly, we don't accept patients who won't make that 1 hour investment in their health. I'm talking about the whole visit when I say 1 hour. If they received an education at another chiropractic office, let's say they saw someone down the street or in another state, doesn't matter because chances are that it wasn't as comprehensive as ours. It's amazing how frequently we get the feedback after the doctor's report visit where clients are shocked and dismayed. They want to know, why did I never receive the information at any other healthcare office, let alone a chiropractic office? So that's just one reason why it's critical that everyone attends. Another key to our success, again, we have over 95% attend our orientation, is that the doctor's report occurs on the new patient's second visit. And what we find is, think about what symptom brought them into your office. And yes, while we strive to be a wellness lifestyle chiropractic office, most of our new patients still have some sort of health challenge. And what we find is that if relief from whatever symptom brought them into our office happens prior to them being educated about what chiropractic truly is, the patient quits care because they have some erroneous assumption that they're well. And of course they would if they haven't learned anything different first. So if you happen to be holding your educational classes on a weekly or a monthly basis, and let alone not holding them at all, you can actually cause retention problems in your practice. And so in our office, in the last over 25 years of not adjusting on the first visit, what we found is that there's an increase in patient retention. And there's also an increase in compliance, like I said, retention, and collections. So all good reasons here. So think about it. A new patient who receives an adjustment before they receive an education about chiropractic can drop out of care unnecessarily, depending on their misperception of their first adjustment. If their symptoms, disappear after the very first adjustment, so could they. Why not? They mistakenly believe that they've been quote unquote fixed. Now, if they experience no change in how they feel after their very first adjustment, again, why would they return? Because they mistakenly believe that chiropractic is ineffective. And if they feel worse after the very first adjustment, well, that's a no-brainer. Why would they return? Because they mistakenly believe that chiropractic doesn't work. Now, we understand that that's not the case, but how can the patient possibly get it? So because of those three different scenarios that can possibly occur with where it results in the patient not returning, and that's even with exceptional expectation management, we choose to wait until after the doctor's report for the client's first adjustment. Now, I will tell you, for Dr. Tom's first 10 years in practice, that wasn't the case. And he did utilize excellent communication skills. But what we found when we made that switch, it did increase our retention by 5 to 10%. So again, do make your choice. Now, of course, our doctors do make an occasional exception in the circumstance, for example, that our new patient is in such excruciating pain that it would be inappropriate to make them wait. And so in those cases, the patient would receive chiropractic adjustments until they're able to focus through the doctor's report. All right. Let's see. So, like I mentioned, for over 25 years, I'm sorry, this is about something different. I see we're talking about new patient format. But for over 25 years, Dr. Tom also presented his chiropractic orientation portion in a live group format. I'm sure you know lots of very successful chiropractors who hold that, really exciting large group live class, and it makes sense because that's exactly why we do our CA interviews when we're hiring in a group format. There's no reason to repeat the same basic information that applies to everyone over and over and over. And it saves time for the doctor having to repeat the entire presentation, like I said, on an individual basis. So in our office, you want to do the group part, or you want to do, let me back up. Either way you do it, the individual report of findings takes just a few minutes. That's the one-on-one portion. So it's really efficient. So that's with the class. However, for the last more than 2 years now, it's about 3, we've substituted a 10-minute video that we created instead of the live group presentation. And the live group presentation used to take the doctor 30 to 35 minutes to present it. Now, the good news is that, trust me, I do all the stats, we still have the same great retention rates. Now, the benefit for the patient is that it offers more flexibility for their schedule and their second visit. When we did our class, we held it actually 5 times a week because, again, we wanted it to occur on the second visit. That's how important education is. But let me just go over the benefits and drawbacks of the 3 different formats for new patient education. You've got one-on-one, you've got a group or a class, and you have a video. Like I said, that's what we're using now. So the first consideration is convenient scheduling for the patient. Well, when it's one-on-one, that really depends on how you schedule. But when it's a group class held weekly or monthly, or even 5 times a week, it's not convenient for the patient. But a video is very convenient because it opens up your capacity for scheduling all those second visits. Now, the next consideration is whether or not it saves time for the doctor. Well, one-on-one is obviously a time suck. And a group or class can save time depending on how often you teach your class. Like I mentioned, we used to offer ours 5 times a week, and we, because of our volume, averaged about 3 new patients per class. So if you do the math, it actually saved our doctor 66% of his or her time over a one-on-one presentation. Of course, the video saves the doctor 100% of their time because it takes zero minutes of the doctor's time for the patient to watch the video. All right. And so next, I want you to consider the duration of the visit. When it's one-on-one, that depends on the blab factor, really. And when it's a group, we found that larger crowds tend to equate it to longer presentations. And with the video, we've condensed that new patient education, like I said, used to be 30 to 35 minutes, down to 10 minutes. So, as you may already know, I'm also a huge fan of systems. The one-on-one is really not systemized. And the group presentation, we did systemize that with a PowerPoint presentation, had a big screen, a big classroom, and obviously the video is also systemized. Now, the last factor is whether or not it helps to build relationships. Because the one-on-one visit and the video are both on an individual basis, they tend to. However, the group format doesn't. So, as you can see, it's pretty easy to understand why we're happy using the video for the chiropractic education portion of the second visit, or as we call it, the doctor's report. But let me take a moment and back up. We can't educate our clients without first making the connection. Remember, they won't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's why we want to remember that our ultimate goal is to develop as many as possible long-term win-win relationships between our practice and our community. And we really just can't do that without making a connection first. Now, there's a ton of information from NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, on people's different learning styles. The concept of representational systems focuses on the senses that we use when relating to information. Now, the good news is that our chiropractic orientation and report of findings appeal to people on different sensory levels to facilitate their understanding. So, for example, if somebody is an auditory, in other words, they relate to sensory input through their ears, well, luckily for them, the video has audio. And if they happen to be more visual, they relate mostly to sensory input through their eyes, well, again, still have that video. And lastly, if they happen to be a kinesthetic and relate best through touch, well, during our report of findings, we use our subluxation degeneration phase model and our fixation stick. So we make every attempt to connect with them no matter what their primary representational system happens to be. Lastly, we want to keep in mind that people make decisions based upon perceived benefits. And there really are just 2 types of benefits. The first is the addition of something positive into someone's life. And the second is the removal of something negative out of someone's life. And the important thing to keep in mind is that both scenarios are benefits. And our doctor's report is geared towards both types of benefits of chiropractic care. So what I mean by that is that on the positive side, we explain the benefits of a healthy spine and nervous system and all that entails for the pleasure seekers of the world. And on the removal of the negative side, for the pain avoiders, we cover the effects of subluxation and degeneration. So the point is to try to make the connection. In other words, we want to reach them before we teach them. So what I did is I created our 10-minute video in PowerPoint, which, as you can see, has all the scripting for the doctor in the notes portion of the slide to make it really easy for them to record. And of course, I do recommend customizing your video to fit the specific exams and x-ray views that you do in your office, because that'll save you tons of time when it comes to do your individualized report of findings. But in case you're wondering, both the video and PowerPoint file are included in this month's 1-hour ACE course. But what I really love about the video is that it defines health in terms of function, and obviously chiropractic's role in that. Now, I got a little horn tooting alert coming up. Here are just a couple of comments that we received from our clients from our doctor's report survey. So it's not just me saying it's awesome, our new patients love it. So if you have any questions, just add them to the comments and I'll be happy to respond. And if I can help you in any way, whether you're looking for this month's excellence coaching or training for new CAs, hiring systems, or practice systems, please visit my website. It's chiropracticassistance.com. And you can either sign up for emails or you can click to contact, call, or email me. Regardless, I would love to help your team reach higher levels of excellence. And I want to thank ChiroSecure again for providing this forum to increase chiropractic success. Your host next week will be Dr. Sherry McAllister, who, as we all know, does such amazing work with the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress. So be sure to watch it. And thanks again.